Hey, what's up? Todd Valentine here from Melbourne, Australia, and today I'm going to teach you how to win at games, at game, and at life. Okay, ambitious project, but I think we're all up to it. Basically, I've always noticed in life there's a distinction between playing well and winning. There's a distinction between putting out a great performance and getting a result. So what I'm going to teach you today is how to get that result. And I've always been a big proponent of the idea that games are a metaphor for life. So I'm going to use two games, pool and soccer, which I played very heavily during my high school and college days, as a metaphor for how to win at everything else. Now, a lot of people, when they come into a pool room, they go in, they shoot a bunch of balls, they make a bunch of balls, and they leave themselves in a really shitty position. Because what they don't realize is the fewer balls they have on the table, what it actually equates to is the fewer options. So it looks nice to be making a bunch of balls, but what happens is you end up screwing yourself over really badly. And ironically, the person with more balls on the table with any level, in a game with any level of skill, has a tremendous advantage. Also, it's much more important the position of your balls, i.e. are they near holes, are they blocking your opponents, are they tying up your opponent's ball so you can't do anything with them, than actually how many balls you have on the table. So the smart player, what they actually do is they will clear up the trouble areas and make sure to never leave their opponent a really good shot, and then only when it's a very easy run out will they start running off balls, because to run off the balls part way and leave their opponent in an easier situation is essentially suicide in that game. Nobody plays that way though. Nobody at all plays that way. Secondly, let's look at soccer. Soccer is a game that's a beautiful game played around the world. It's an interesting game though, because most goals are not scored what they call within the run of play. Most goals are not scored by the team attacking, the other team defending, and there being a clear advantage, and then they break it down. A team like Barcelona actually is like the exception to that rule, but pretty much any other top soccer team in the world, they make most of their goals on either counterattacks or set pieces. So essentially, it's a game of transition, it's a game of mistakes. So it's a game where defense comes in first, and it's all about making your opponents make mistakes in the wrong parts of the field, okay? The idea I'm getting at here is that winning in almost any game is almost always winning ugly. It's not winning beautiful, okay? So the first distinction you have to make if you want to win is you have to decide to win. Okay, now that sounds obvious, like who goes into a game not deciding to win? Well, most people actually do. Most people go into a competitive situation and they're more concerned about how they look, what their image is, if they look like they played well, that sort of thing. They're more concerned about like making some like interesting shit happen. They're not concerned about winning. I'm reminded of a pool instructional video I watched where the person was suggesting making this shot, this first shot pretty easy, and then the second shot was this really like pathetic, like cop-out looking shot that left your opponent completely safe, like it gave him no shot whatsoever, and it just looked like the most bitch move ever. And if you look at it, it's absolutely beautiful because it's like the absolute clearest way to win the game I've ever seen. I looked at the YouTube comments on the video, and one of the comments said, bro, if you tried that at like your local pub, they'd fucking knock you, like they'd beat you up and kick you out of the place, right? That's why a lot of people don't play to win. People play to look good, people play to make friends, people play to like maintain their self-esteem, maintain their self-image. They don't play to win. One critical component of winning is not losing. Now that sounds really obvious, but it has a lot of subtle implications. What I basically mean by this is don't beat yourself. When I was a competitive chess player, the advice I always got from my coach was keep the draw in hand and go for the win. Meaning, don't try and win by taking some crazy risk or doing some crazy sacrifice and complicating the position in some way that you can't see the end of. Don't do it just because it looks like it might have potential and it'll be brilliant if it works. Instead, keep it solid, keep it safe. Trust that if you've played well, you'll have other opportunities, and at the very least, you're going to make your opponent beat you, okay? So don't beat yourself. Similarly, when I played poker professionally, one of my biggest issues was overplaying my hand or trying to get a little too tricky for my own good. I was usually one of the more talented players at the table that I was at, and so I was always trying to play perfectly. But what I came to realize over time is there are a lot of other people that are less good than me that are winning a lot of money. And all I have to do is at least play as good as them. If I see a clear opportunity to do something better, absolutely take it, but never do anything worse. Never beat yourself. Never do something creative that hurts your game, right? Make sure that whatever creative moves you're doing, whatever kind of huge risks you're taking or inventive nuances you're adding to your game, make sure they're actually working. Make sure you come from a solid fundamental base first, and then only do the crazy, spectacular stuff from a basis in solid fundamentals. Let's talk about these concepts specifically within the scope of pickup. So when we talk about deciding to win, again, what are you making the decision to do? Are you gaming for your ego? Are you gaming to impress your friends? Are you gaming to avoid rejection and convince yourself that like you've never, never failed? Or are you gaming to actually get results, right? And it looks very different. The guy who's gaming to get results may take a lot of blowouts. He may leave sets that look apparently good but aren't going anywhere. He may look like an idiot. He may burn it to the ground when he fails because there's that tiny little chance he'll succeed and he has nothing to lose. But trust me, you can risk a lot by playing correctly. You can look like a total idiot, and that's okay, right? And it also comes down to attitude too. Like if you've decided to win, you're gonna take those rejections, and instead of treating them as rejections, you're gonna treat them as positives, because that is positive toward your desire to win. You made the right move, right? You should always be judging your actions based on whether you did the right thing rather than whether you got the right outcome. And that's a big part of deciding to win as well. You're not gonna win every time because you decide to win, but you are gonna increase your percentages. But yeah, the losses could look fucking horrendous and you have to deal with that, all right? Next, understanding the game. If you were a guy who just went out to the club and just got drunk and hit on girls over and over and over again, there are a lot of guys who do that. And a lot of them are shows. Like some tiny little fraction of them are like naturals. A huge scope of them, like the vast majority, are chody guys who get nowhere, who bumble and stumble drunkenly and just offend girls and never, ever, ever get laid. That's what happens if you go in without an understanding. That's where watching videos comes in. That's where getting feedback, going to hot seats, taking boot camps, that's where that stuff comes in. That's where when you go home at the end of the night, analyzing your night and figuring out what you did well and what you did badly comes in. You need to understand the game. That's where reading stuff like evolutionary psychology to understand, or psychology in general, to understand female nature, to understand the way the world works. The more you understand the game, the better you're gonna do. You may not get everything right, but at least you'll be doing things that are plausible. At least you'll be doing things that have a chance of working, and so you'll get success on a much higher percentage basis. If you go in blind, if you go in not understanding the game, or maybe even worse yet, if you go in understanding the game the way Hollywood movies and like mainstream society teach you, you are fucked, son. You are not gonna do well at all. So you need to get that understanding of the game. Every moment you spend is gonna be made more efficient by having that understanding. Understand the game you're playing. It's absolutely invaluable. Next, don't lose. Okay, what does don't lose mean? Don't lose means a few different things. It means, on the broadest of scopes, it means like don't put yourself in the really stupid situations, right? Don't get beat up to the point where your face gets messed up. Don't push it so far you get like thrown out of the club, that kind of stuff. Don't lose. But really, another form of don't lose means don't go in so weak that you give yourself no chance to win. Don't go in protecting your ego and trying to take a moral victory so much that you guarantee a loss and you guarantee a non-result. That's a guaranteed loss as well. I have this metaphor I give a lot, which is the metaphor of a fire, where if you put no wood on it, it will gradually burn out, but it won't seem like an event, right? Most guys play their game that way. They guarantee a loss by not ever taking a risk. So one way to not lose is don't take the fucking crazy stupid risk that's guaranteed to fail. Also, don't take no risks, because that's also guaranteed to fail. But make sure that whatever your game plan is a game plan that can allow for victory. There must be some risk in it, but it shouldn't be foolhardy risk, okay? Make sure that you're doing that. Also, be patient. Be patient in your game. Do not try and win in the first 5 minutes. It doesn't happen. It usually takes hours. And you know what? It's much easier to make a critical mistake and blow yourself out than it is to do some great thing that's gonna work and like make the set. It doesn't work like that, all right? It's more about having a period of time of getting to know the girl and doing a lot of the generally right things than doing one great, amazing thing. So don't fucking overplay it. Take your time. Understand that game is a long, slow process with any one girl. One other huge mistake guys make is they'll find a way to lose from a winning position late in game. Say you spent hours and hours with the girl, you're walking the girl home, she's already agreed to go there with you. What guys will do is they'll try and like get these crazy emotional spikes on the way home, or they'll try and escalate a lot on the way home. Don't do it. You're already in a winning position. There's no point in taking that risk. The biggest thing going on there is that the logistics are going in your favor. The situation's going in a positive way. As long as it's moving in a good direction, again, be patient. Don't be needy. Act like you've been there before. A great way of looking at it is think to yourself, if this was a situation where I couldn't lose, if this was a situation where the girl was going to like me no matter what, this is a situation where she's already my girlfriend, would I be trying these crazy risks? Don't. Right? If it's not the case that you'd be doing it in that situation, don't in the situation where you're in a winning situation with a new girl either. All right? Don't lose in spite of yourself. Don't find a way to lose from a winning position by trying to be fancy, right? This is like imagine the game of football, American football, where if you're running down the field, you're about to score, and you start like dancing before you get in the end zone, and someone catches up with you and tackles you, or you start dancing before you get in the end zone and fucking drop the ball on the 1 yard line. Don't lose from a winning position. So many guys do this, and it's fucking painful to watch. All right, when you're in a winning position, just enjoy it and go with it. Don't try and be fucking spectacular and perfect. Just win. That's enough. When you put your penis inside the girl, it doesn't matter whether she thought you were like an 8 out of 10 and that was good enough, or she thought you were a 10 out of 10 and that's good enough. You can get that value later. Don't fucking worry about it. Don't lose from a winning position. Last topic, be clutch. Being clutch in game means there are certain moments in a set that matter and certain moments that don't matter nearly so much. So for example, when the friends come in out of nowhere, that moment matters. When you're trying to seed the pull and trying to actually walk out of the club with her, that moment matters. When you're getting her into a taxi, that moment matters. When you're walking her in your front door, that moment matters. The moment when you go from escalating physically to fingering the girl, that moment matters. Those are clutch moments. Those are moments where victory and defeat are decided. You want to make sure that you are focused on structuring those moments and making them happen the best way. And ironically, having a set that looks good the whole way actually hurts you in those moments, because if you're at a low energy level in general, things are relaxed, things are calm, you have a lot of leeway and leverage to make things happen going into those critical moments. You have a lot of opportunity to make big changes and make big things happen. But if you're running it at top end the whole time, there's nowhere to go when those critical moments happen. So understand that you don't have to be like the most brilliant conversationalist for 4 hours straight. You don't have to like keep the girl laughing and giggling and touching you the whole time. In fact, it's better and more normal and more comfortable, and comfort matters too, more normal and more comfortable and more effective to actually run the set at a lower energy. I would much rather be just cuddling with a girl on the couch and sort of like talking slowly with her than have her giggling and jumping up and down and saying how amazing I am. One looks good, the other is very effective. One impresses your friends, the other gets you laid, okay? So if you want to win, be clutch. Know when those critical moments are. And what are they again? Opening the set, friends come in, moving the set, walking out the door, walking to a taxi, escalating for sex. Those types of moments are critical. That's where your focus is. In fact, whenever I break down my sets afterwards and I'm looking at it, most of the set I don't even bother breaking down. Most of it's highly irrelevant, really, to be honest. But those like 10% key moments, oh, you better believe I have some excruciating detail in the analysis of those moments, because they are so important, and that's where victory and defeat are decided. So let's talk about how to win at the greatest game of all, life. And again, it's the same 4 rules for how to win at any game. First is resolve to win. Resolve to win rather than feeling short-term pleasure, okay? Eat good food that's healthy for your body and helps you think and helps you be nourished and grow, instead of junk food that just tastes good. Read, learn, study, improve yourself, work on a skill set, rather than sit around playing video games and watching movies, all right? Surround yourself with the type of people that push you and inspire you, as opposed to just people that make you feel comfortable or that like butter you up and make you feel good about yourself. Again, resolve to be the best. Resolve to go to the gym and take whatever pain that may mean. Resolve to take, there's an interesting study done once upon a time where they looked at children who succeeded and children who didn't. They offered them 1 cookie now or 2 cookies at the end of the day, and they found that the children who took the 2 cookies at the end of the day succeeded at life over like a longitudinal study far more than those who took the 1 cookie now. Be that person at life. Resolve to win, resolve to make it, as opposed to just feel good. It's not easy. People will laugh at you. Resolve to do the uncool thing. Resolve, instead of looking good and being cool, to actually get down and practice and work hard and mess up and make an ass of yourself. Again, it's not easy. There will be social pressure. There will be all kinds of things getting in your way. There will be people telling you not to. Everybody in the world will discourage you. You have to push through that. You have to decide emotionally, winning is more important than looking good or feeling good in the short run. So important. Next, understand the game you're playing. In this case, what that means is understand life. Charlie Munger, probably one of the most successful men on the planet, has this idea that he calls a lattice work of models. Basically, he reads and learns everything he can get his hands on, and he creates models for the world. He has this model for the way that business works, and this model for the way psychology works, and this model for math, and all these different things. And you know what? Every single model he adds makes him a little bit more acute in his understanding of life, lets him make slightly better decisions. And sometimes these models will contradict each other, and he has them at such a level that he knows the exceptions, he knows where they apply, he knows where they don't, and he's able to use them in unison. The more models you have, the more learning you have, the more understanding you have of life, the better you're going to do at it. Also, surround yourself with other people who are good at life, because they'll teach you how it is. Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett work together. There's no surprise in that two of the most successful rich people do work together. They've made each other successful, but they were successful before they were with each other as well, and they've learned a lot from each other. And you look at Warren Buffett, he had the mentor Benjamin Graham. Most of the most successful people in history learn from someone else who was successful first. It's just easier that way. It's easier not to make all the mistakes yourself, but be a student of life. Be a student of science. Be a student of evolution. Be a student of mathematics. Be a student of business. Be a student of every field you can possibly be a student of. And obviously prioritize the things that are most important for whatever way that you've decided to live your life, but do have a broad understanding of life. So many of the greatest discoveries in the world and so many of the greatest innovations that made people super successful in life are not just little incremental changes within one industry. They're when you combine one industry with another, when you combine two fundamentally different ideas and create a new model. And in order to do that, you have to have that global understanding. So understand the world, become a student of life if you want to succeed at life. Next, don't lose. Okay, what does don't lose mean in the grand scope of life? Well, on the most simple spectrum, it means don't get dead, right? Don't get run over by a car, don't drink and drive, don't fucking take so many drugs it ruins your brain and kills you and rots you out. Don't have junk food and die by the age of 25 of some kind of heart attack or cancer or something like that. Don't get dead. That's number one. But also, don't lose in terms of your assets and your resources. If you have a peer group that's helping you out, don't burn that to the ground. You've worked hard for it. Don't burn it out. Then you have to take all this time to build it back up. If you have a certain amount of money, yes, take some risks with it, but don't risk so much that you can't get it back quickly. Don't risk so much that it ruins you. Don't go bankrupt. Actually, in some countries, do go bankrupt because there's a protection, but that's a protection in and of itself, right? Take the risks that you can recover from. Don't take a risk you can't recover from. Okay? Make sure, at the very least, don't lose. The thing about life, you can play the high percentage thing, but you still only get one shot at life. So if your move gives you too much risk of death, too much risk of losing everything, you've ruined your one shot. You don't get to play life 1,000 times. So play it just a little bit safe and give yourself a platform from which to succeed, right? And then from there, you can take all the risks in the world. It's much easier to take risks and garner resources and make big moves as a millionaire than it is as someone impoverished and with no resources. It's easier to take risks if you have a social circle of successful people around you than if you're all on your own. Life is a team sport. Humanity, most of the biggest innovations in human history are what we call non-zero-sum innovations. They're positive-sum things. They're people sharing and cooperating so that both people benefit. Look for those situations and create that abundant lifestyle. Don't lose what you have, build what you have. Lastly, know the key moments. There are key moments and key decisions in your life. Who you marry is a key decision. What you do in risky situations. Do you walk down that dark, shady alley? Yeah, everything's all good until that one time it's not. Right? Do you decide to do the hard career path that can lead you to what you really want in life, or you do take the safe, easy option that's going to make you a steady income but never going to make you achieve greatness on the level that you want, right? Who do you surround yourself with when you go to college? In your first little bit there, do you surround yourself with the type of people that are going to get ahead in life, or the type of people that are going to drink their lives away? Or do you surround yourself with people with low self-esteem that never take a risk, right? The peer group you choose is a key decision. The job you choose is a key decision. When you have a change of careers, those are key decisions. If you have a big project, a big risk, be very careful about the structuring. The devil most times between success and failure is in the details. So when you have a big move, don't be what we call penny wise and pound foolish. Don't save the money on a few $100s for a lawyer to look something over and make sure it's all good, and then put 10 years of your life into something and find out it's fundamentally flawed. Do your due diligence up front, dot your I's, cross your T's. When something is important, when something's a big move in your life, make damn sure you handle the details, and handle the details yourself to as great a degree as you can. Even if you're bringing experts in, make sure you know what's going on in your own life. Don't let your life get out of your own hands. A lot of life, the way I spend next Tuesday probably won't determine the rest of my life, but the way that I handled the first big interview I had on mainstream television might. Or the way I handle, the day I come back to RSD and when I'm talking with Nick and Owen and all those guys and figuring out my future that's a key moment in life. That's a moment to be handled the right way. So there are critical moments in life, and there are moments that are a little bit lax. And it's actually even okay to relax and allow yourself to recharge during those lax moments. But make sure you understand life, already we talked about that, such that you know when the critical moments are, and when those critical moments are, hit them hard and hit them again with the desire to win as opposed to the desire to be comfortable or to look good. That is how you're gonna win at this most beautiful, richest, and best game of all, life. And I fucking love it.